Welcome back to Cold Open Hot Takes. I'm Cameron Cardell, and this is a breakdown of My Adventures with Superman Episode 2, Mobile Suit Toyman. A laid-back episode featuring Kara figuring out where she fits in on Earth, Jimmy ripping off DC Comics, Clark not quite getting a chance to catch his breath, and Lois just being Lois, meaning she's just as chaotic as ever. Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and now without further ado, let's get into it. Episode 2 opens with Clark and Kara getting some much needed family bonding time, with what appears to be Clark showing her the ropes and having her assist him in some of his daily saves, or what Yelena Belova would call small potato stuff. I love the amount of high fives they do in this sequence, and I also wanted to point out how similar her lasering the guns out of the bad guy's hands mirrored Homelander in The Boys Diabolical Episode 8 1 + 1 = 2. Not saying that's what the writers were intending to do, but when I saw it, it's the first thing that came to mind. Also, you Homelander, rest in peace. We see the gang headed over to Superfest, but not before getting a pretty awesome shot of Clark and Kara statues in the center of Metropolis, surrounded by some of the same signs we saw at the end of episode 1. We see a sign for LexCorp, a sign for Worms, something we'll get into in future episodes, a sign for Cord Industries referencing Ted Cord, the second Blue Beetle, and a sign for Big Belly Burger, a famous DC staple that we've seen in multiple comics and shows currently in the DCU, like The Flash, Peacemaker, and recently in the background of DC's 2025 Superman. Side note, they have officially broken ground on a real-life Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that is set to open sometime in 2027 in New Jersey, so fingers crossed DC follows in the footsteps and we get a real-life Big Belly Burger sometime in the future. But here's also hoping we don't go from the bite of 87 to the bite of 27, if you know what I mean. At Superfest, where the gang's excited to enjoy a day of relaxation and nerding out, we see Kara say how she's excited to try to get people to start calling her Power Woman instead of Supergirl. In case you don't know, Power Girl, or Woman, I prefer Woman, it sounds way more badass, is an alternate version of Kara Zor-El from Earth 2 until the Crisis on Infinite Earth run from 1985 to 1986, where after a battle against the Anti-Monitor, her Earth was destroyed, leaving her stranded on Earth 1. And the only reason I use air quotes when I say this is because I love the ongoing joke in the DCU whenever a universe finds out that there's a multiverse, they all start calling themselves Earth 1. So really, who knows, right? We see the gang talk about how they're going to enjoy the con, and then we get a touching moment of Kara and Jimmy touching hands, which, can be the only person who loves and hates the slow burn at the same time. Like, just hook up already. We then see Jimmy pull out Flamebird watches that he calls bird watches that have the ability to call Superman for help at any time. So it's basically just the series' take on Jimmy Olsen's famous Signal Watch, a watch that Jimmy gets from Superman in the comics that emits an ultra loud frequency that only he can hear, so he'll know whenever Jimmy is in danger. We then get some fan service through Lois, who tells Jimmy to stop playing games and just be with Kara, something I'm sure everyone has been yelling at their TV, phone screen, and monitor for weeks by now. But Jimmy, being Jimmy, says he doesn't want to take away her freedom by trying to tie her down.
Kara spent her whole life in a cage. She deserves a real shot at what the world has to offer to find out what makes her happy.
Which I think a part of this is true. After all, she was brainwashed by Brainiac for a good portion of her life. So I think she should take some time to find out who she really is. And I think that's a big part of this episode. Finding out who she is and where she fits in on Earth. But another part of me thinks that Jimmy just thinks that he's not good enough for her, which we kind of see later in the episode. We then see Jimmy's booth at the con where he plans on selling his own comic book series called Superman's Pal, Jimmy Olsen. Yes, based on the real life series by the same name. We even get to see some cover art inspired by the same comics, like issue number 158 with the return of Ultra Olsen, issue number 115 featuring Aquaman, and issue number 108. We also see Lois get mad over his take on Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, where she is supposed to be evil. I couldn't find an exact comic cover that matches the one that he uses in the show, but to not leave you hanging, I'm just gonna throw out Superman's girlfriend number 75, where she becomes Lady Dictator. But hey, if you know one that matches it, say one down in the comments. Cat Grant then shows up and tells them that she was the one who got them assigned to the convention. And then we see Lois angrily pushing herself through the crowd after spotting, you guessed it, Toyman. While doing so, we see a ton of character Easter eggs of people we've seen before, like this one who looks exactly like Heatwave. I don't know if the real Heatwave would go to a Superman convention, considering how much Supes has stopped him and her partners over the years, but she did assist the team back in season 2 when they needed to steal a ship. So I don't know, maybe she secretly officially a fan now. We also get a group dressed like the Teen Titans and a guy who dresses exactly like a lizard, and this may just be me reading too much into it, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say this is an homage to Killer Croc. And one more lady who looks eerily similar to Commander Waller in the background. Clark and Lois follow Toyman back to his booth, and we get a sign for Shots Toys, a toy company from the comics that he uses as a front for his illegal weaponized toys, and we also get to see a mini version of the weaponized suit of armor that he'll use later in this episode, foreshadowing the end. We then get a shot of Bizarro at the con, taking a pic with the Titans, and can I just say, how can you not love this man? He is so adorable. DC, if anything happens to him, I will not forgive you. I'm still heartbroken about Vic at the end of Penguins. RIP to the greatest. On the Kara and Jimmy side of things, we see Jimmy still being super avoidant of Kara and trying not to turn her overly enthusiastic affection. We also see her bring over the actors who played Ace Morgan and June Roberts from Challengers of the Unknown, a callback to the couple's costume in episode 1. And then Kara just lays it all out in the line and full on confesses to Jimmy and tells him she has feelings for him and she wants to be his mate. Jimmy, what are you doing, my brother? Say yes. Jimmy turns her down and tells her she should experience more of the world first, and then Kara sadly leaves to attend her panel. Meanwhile, a criminal attacks the nearby Metropolis Bank, and is a new original character created by the show, but I'm pretty sure she's based off Whip, part of 7 Men of Death from the New Earth universe, or Bullwhip from one of the animated series that's slipping my mind at this point. Clark introduces Kara and quickly rushes to the scene where she attacks him with kryptonite whips. "It's a rare metal, Bruce!" I said, shouting, as they locked me away inside of a padded room. She claims to have gotten them from robots all over the city, which, I mean, they did destroy Brainiac's ship at the end of season 2, so I guess it wouldn't be impossible for Metropolis to have a supply of kryptonite right now running rampant. And I also don't see Lex being the type to share. I mean, he was definitely the kid in kindergarten who didn't share his fruit snacks. Lois confronts Winslow, who acts like he doesn't remember her, and then he claims he's just here to sell toys, but Lois doesn't buy it. Meanwhile, Kara is having trouble answering Kat's questions on the panel and quickly pivots to someone asking a question, and that person turns out to be Jessica Cruz. Yes, the Jessica Cruz. Green Lantern's Jessica Cruz. She does such an amazing job at reassuring Kara that she matters in her own unique way.
Supergirl's special because she's brave. You are a warrior. I like how Superman protects us, but I love how you fight for us.
I also love the added gesture of her grandmother raising her hand again after she hesitates, because while she's encouraging Kara, her grandmother is encouraging her, showing that we can all use somebody in our corner to uplift us at their time where we are doubting ourselves the most. It's my favorite moment in the entire episode, and I for one cannot wait to see more of her in my adventures with Green Lantern whenever it drops. This moment is then wrapped up with Kara dropping a bombshell that she wants all eligible suitors to meet her at her booth, taking Jimmy's advice to experience other people and more of the world. Man, Jimmy Flamebird, you really effed up. Clark gets roughed up while fighting the Whip, who takes a jab at him for doing this for free, and we look at how tired he is. I really can't believe he does this for free either. I mean, look at this man. Get him a paycheck with great health benefits ASAP. Jimmy freaks out after seeing Kara with a line of people who took her up on her offer to date, and then we even get a look at Buff Jimmy, which is just super hilarious. We love you, Buff Jimmy. Then, just like how all good things have to come to an end, Lex Luthor shows up claiming he has found a great opportunity and offers to invite Jimmy to his presentation, foreshadowing the end of the episode. Can I just say, I really like this version of Lex Luthor. He started out as a scientist, then he built LexCorp. I really like how they're making him start everything on his own, but me personally, even though I like it, I'm really more of a fan of the LexCorp being a legacy company. Because I'm a big Lionel Luthor fan. I was a big fan of how he was portrayed in Smallville, and I really hate how we never really see him a lot of media. There are some speculations that we could potentially get Lionel Luthor and Lanterns, but it's just speculation, nothing to really confirm it, so I'm just gonna leave that there. There's a lot of foreshadowing in this episode. Between Winslow, Jessica, and Lex, we really get to see how much fun the writers have fun cooking things up in the back rooms. Who knows, maybe this is even their way of soft launching My Adventures with Teen Titans sometime in the future. With how popular this show is, and one spin-off already confirmed, it's not impossible. Lois then freaks out on Winslow and destroys the kid's toy in front of the kid. Really brutal. really brutal. Then freaks out again thinking she's going crazy. She is kind of going crazy in this episode, by the way. Meanwhile, Kara is enjoying time with her fans and Jimmy is freaking out behind the scenes. But I mean, that's totally his fault, by the way. I mean, why did he have to tell her to move on and talk to other people? We also see Cat Grant not help his mind ease in this situation. I mean, she kind of, you know, instigates a little bit, I'm just gonna say. Clark finishes up his fight with the whip and returns to the con looking absolutely exhausted. And once again, I can't believe our boy doesn't get paid for this. I mean, look at him. He then goes to help Lois and offers to replace the kid's toy that she broke with a new teddy bear. And I love this because it shows that whether he's in costume or not, Clark is Superman. And there's no such thing to him as small potato stuff. Meanwhile, Lois notices a bunch of weapons Winslow is hiding and begins to taunt him, causing him to summon out his giant Voltron-like mecha suit. But before Kara or Clark can spring into action, another blue blur jumps in and stops him at just the right time. And we find out that that person is Hank Henshaw, aka Cyborg Superman. And while Hank is beating him to a pulp, we see Lex give a speech about how they don't need aliens to keep them safe. Classic Lex Luthor. And while this is happening, you can't convince me that it's a coincidence that when Lex says aliens, it cuts straight to Starfire. I mean, we have two aliens right here, and then we have Bizarro right there as well. I mean, I think you could say that it's foreshadowing a Teen Titans spinoff. I mean, hey, look, please give us a Teen Titans spinoff. We need this, broski. In the end, Clark reassures Kara that if they keep helping people and they do good, people will become less afraid of them, and that all they can do is wait for the change. I love how optimistic he is. He really is our Superman. In the final shot of the episode, we see Lex, Slade, and Henshaw. Specifically, Henshaw look super menacingly, by the way. I mean, he just looks super big bad. Lex states that he is close to getting Metropolis on his side, and Hank states that they are close to saving the world from Superman. The series is really heating up, and I can't wait to break down the last 8 episodes. This introduction of Bizarro and Cyborg Superman, I just personally think is one of my favorites, specifically with Bizarro. I kind of like the route that they're taking with him, being like a distant relative to the Kryptonians. I loved all the other Easter eggs, and I can't wait to see what the other episodes are hiding. This is Cold Open Hot Takes, Cameron Cardell, and I'll see you next time.
I just wanna get out of here. I just wanna go out of space to the moon. Two-door coupe and you know it goes on. I've been on my own, solo dolo in the coupe. Fly me away out of here. Couple